Welcome into this week's edition of Maverick Insider. The Minnesota State women's basketball team is one of the tops in all of Division II. I'm Rob Clark, joined alongside head coach Emily Thiesse. Coach, the progression from the start of the season to now, what do you really like about where this team has kind of come so far?
You know, honestly, I think our team has done a really good job of being consistent to this point. And so I don't know that I felt like, early in the season we just had so much growth that we really needed to accomplish with such a great veteran leadership group. I thought all preseason, all early season, our team has really set the tone consistently, and so that's been really easy for us to build off of at this stage of the season. And really our focus right now is just improving and winning the skill development game day to day, and just preparing ourselves now to be the team that we want to be, come end of the season.
You mentioned that consistency. How important is it for the group to be able to come out and play the way that they have every single game so far this year and just kind of continue on that trajectory throughout the entire season?
That's so important. I think, we've seen teams in our own program over the past that have had a ton of success, but sometimes ride the peaks and the valleys, and it can just create some confusion, some lack of trust, and understanding what we're going to get day in and day out. And I think when you start to feel that consistency, it just builds so much trust in each other. It builds trust in the system, and we know what we're going to be able to put in game to game. And I think up to this point in the season, just in general, our record is great, but we also know that we're going to see much more talented teams as we continue to progress through the season. And so that consistency, and not just working good enough to beat the team we're playing on that night, but to work good enough that we can beat any team on any given night.
A couple of years ago, this team wins the national championship. The sophomores from that group are now seniors. As a coach, to hear some of the seniors talk about, last year in the NCAA tournament, but it wasn't good enough because it didn't win the national title. Just having that expectation here at Minnesota State, and really kind of, those players all believing in it. What does that mean to you as a head coach?
I think you just hit the nail on the head there. It's the belief. We know what it takes. We've been there. We know what made that journey so special for us in that year, and it wasn't going undefeated. Obviously we didn't go undefeated in that year. We had a lot of bumps. We had so much growth over the course of that year, but we knew what was preparing us for when it came to the end of the year. And so, we're not out here striving for an undefeated season. We're not out here striving for, necessarily a conference championship or anything like that. We're striving out here to be the best basketball team that we can be every day in practice, every game, and knowing that that is what's going to prepare us as we make that run through March. And, I think just having been there, the experiences that group brings, that leadership, that just that competitive drive day to day is what's really fueling us.
What does the holiday break kind of look like for a college basketball team? I know it's kind of hard for people to get the time off and reset, but what does that kind of look like for this group?
I think it's so important. I think as a coach, I get a little apprehensive about the idea that we've built so much momentum. We're well conditioned. We've got this great chemistry, and then we're going to go take 8 days and not see each other and not be together in the gym, and hope and trust that our team understands, what they need physically in order to still maintain where they're at. But it's a long season. This team has been going hard since August. Their bodies need a physical break. Their minds need an emotional break. And just to recharge our batteries, because playing at the level that we do, it takes a toll. And so I think we're all looking forward to a little of that battery recharge. And also, again, that veteran leadership that knows how important this break is, but how important it is to come back and be ready to be a team that's going to build through January and February.
And to play that demanding defense for a full 4 quarters, we've seen this for years now. I think at times that's just kind of what we expect. It looks easy, but just how demanding is it for the players to be able to go out and really execute that for an entire game and throughout the entire season?
It's a lot. I think it's a lot because you can't just play that way on Friday, Saturday. You got to play that way Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you build the confidence by competing so hard in practices, and so when you had, you know, a 2-hour practice and stack those days and then expect everybody to bring that same intensity to a game, you know, I think that's where a lot of the grind happens. You know, again, because our conference plays a lot of Friday, Saturday games, and you don't have a long time to recover and recharge from one game to the next, that also takes such a toll on their bodies. And so, you know, it's a grind. It's a grind. They're mentally tough. They have a passion and a belief in it, and I think that's what continues to get them pushing to that next level throughout the season.
For you, what's your favorite Christmas tradition?
Well, as a mom of 3 young ones, you know, I think we were pretty adamant, you know, when we started our family that we wanted to have our own traditions established, and so it's just been really nice we're on the go so much with our kids' activities and my schedule, you know, just to be able to push pause over the Christmas holiday, you know, spend that time together in our home. We don't travel a lot. You know, we do our Christmas service at our church and have Santa come to our house, and so those are just the special memories, the baking and just the time together where we're not on the hustle and the bustle.
Are you guys baking a lot of turnovers, or is that?
I like that. That's good. That's good. We might need to start that as a holiday tradition. That's good.
We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.